it's Romy. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel. It's your May 2024 soul story if you've got a sun rising or your moon is in the sign. Hopefully these messages will help you to move through the next few weeks. We're opening up with the energy of the Two of Pentacles, and the energy is very much still in flux. You're trying to find your balance as you are going through a period of shedding a skin. And what does that really feel like? Well, it's messy, it's chaotic, it's deep and intense. It can be otherworldly and magical and profoundly transformative. These are some of the words I think you're going to be describing through the course of this month, your experiences. But do you know what? The transition, the in-between of where you are right now is leading to something truly epic and life-altering with you. And so if we can, through the month of May, hang in there, so to speak, you're also going to see some really strong, grounded, tangible progress taking place. And, you know, Pluto stations retrograde in Aquarius from the 2nd, and we have this experience over the next few months, as we do every year, of reflecting on the tendencies that we have, compulsions, addictions, obsessions, themes of power and control in our life, and the degree to which they are limiting or resisting our progress. And so this purging that's starting to take place, along with the realization of what went on with the eclipse last month, sees May as one of these months where you're having like the opportunity, the spiritual test, if you like, to decide what your energetic response is going to be. Yeah, they've called you up. How do you answer that call? And so this is everything about demonstrating to yourself the ways in which you've evolved and really meeting yourself in the moment and recognizing, yes, I am now this person. What does that mean? The new moon arrives in Taurus on the 7th, and for you, I feel like there's some serious acceptance that comes in around that time. Perhaps the realization there's a bit of a trade-off coming. But because you have already cleared so much, there's also an opportunity to feel into something lighter, perhaps the relief of the acknowledgement or sharing something, communicating something, or even just committing to something. It does bring in a bit of a wave of uplifting, optimistic feelings, even if they're slightly fleeting. You know, it's sort of sometimes we get a temporary reprieve from a set of circumstances, and I do think in and around that new moon you're meant to have a bit of a cosmic boost. In fact, I see May overall as one of those months in 2024 where we're given a bit of a reprieve. Definitely the work continues, the intensity doesn't let up, but there's something about what comes into balance that gives us the wherewithal to just say, okay, like I feel topped back up, or something's come good. And I do think you get a bit of a validating experience around that new moon as well, that will also put your frame of mind in the right place to be able to say yes to something. Now, bear in mind, I also pick up through this month that you are going to also end up in situations where you find yourself saying yes and every part of you is screaming no. Now that feels to me like it comes a little bit later on in May. So something that you agree to around the new moon feeling good for you, but perhaps something else showing up and you feel obligated or even slightly guilty and end up agreeing, and it isn't really sitting with you. So take heed, pay attention. Remember, there's a bit of a spiritual test about your overall emotional and energetic response to everything that was, brought to light, and the triggers that you had through that eclipse energy, which, continues over the course of this next few months. Now, Sarah's asteroid goddess is stationing retrograde in Capricorn on the 14th. And here, she's really helping us to figure out how to survive. Yeah, and whatever that looks like, whatever you've gone through, whatever you're going through, however you witness the energies around you, there are tools and strategies and an innate understanding of what we need to draw upon within ourselves in order to navigate that new landscape, that set of experiences that comes with perhaps the feeling of loss or regret or setback or disappointment. but there's something really tangible that she offers. So pay attention around the 14th when that kind of comes into your conscious awareness. The next day, Mercury stations into Taurus, and our communication becomes more focused and deliberate and thoughtful. And, you know, we're coming in with also an incredibly creative, actually quite soothing energy. Remember, Taurus is Venusian ruled. Now, that Five of Cups tells me that, you know, where we have something that boosts us, it might feel a bit fleeting. So you might have a bit of a high, and it's almost like that sort of sugar high, and then it feels like something comes in to sort of burst the bubble a little bit. What I will say in regards to that is it's not all that it seems, okay? So any kind of a potential setback or something that might come in right after, like the kind of boost that you feel, also feels quite temporary and requires, actually more than anything, just a shift in your mindset and your understanding, okay? I want to say, like, hanging on to what they say that fits with your ideas, your hopes and dreams isn't necessarily the right way to go. It's almost like someone's going to just give you a bit of lip service, but really it's the actions that speak more loudly. And I think you've been here before, you've heard this before. Like, there's something about, you know, let's just wait and see and not kind of hang you know, our expectations on that happening. At the end of the day, we're fully in control of our own emotional responses and actions, not anybody else's. And I think that will help steer you away from some emotional roller coasters if you kind of come to terms with, you know, people are sort of showing up in some instances in terms of just telling you what you want to hear. Part of this experience through the month of May for you also feels like we're addressing what the trade-off feels like. So there are certain things that, and I feel like almost secret desires, things that have been burning brightly away within you, that you're really coming to terms like, I have to acknowledge that this is something that I want, that this is something that I have to give myself permission to go explore and discover and just experiment with. And when you finally get to that place of just saying, yeah, this is actually how I feel, and that this is valid enough for me to want to share and express, there inevitably comes with it some sense of a trade-off or what may feel like a sacrifice, compromise in some form or another. I think that's okay. But I think we just need to be really clear about that, i.e. there may be some turbulence, there might be some things that have to be temporarily put on hold, that need to fundamentally change in order for that to be realized, in order for that to be something that is given the space to kind of take shape and form and see what it could do for you, how it can enrich your life. And you come through as the Queen of Swords, which, you know, aligns with your energy beautifully. So that tells me you're very clear thinking about this. It really does matter. It really is important. And so even though there may be some clear indications of what those trade-offs might be, I think you're still prepared to say yes and move with it. You know, essentially over the remaining months in 2024 and into 25, there is so much that you are unpacking, letting go of, clearing, releasing through this expedition with the South Node in your sign. And I think you're starting to kind of get a true picture of really what that feels like by way of the actual experience of it. I'm laughing, but you know, I appreciate the intensity of like where you're being directed and what you're being asked to face and to deal with, you know. And that's not always necessarily easy breezy and light, and yet, you know, there's just this feeling of like, okay, bring it on. And May is just one of these months, like it's sort of peppered with lighter cosmic conversations. We've got a really beautiful aspect coming in on the 18th with the Sun and Jupiter. We've got another one coming in on the full moon in Sagittarius on the 23rd, when the Sun shifts into Gemini, again with Venus. And, you know, these feel like growth-filled days. They feel like opportunity days. They feel like times where things just kind of can work in our favor, or we certainly just get given respite or relief. And there's some sense of like, okay, I can handle this. I can deal with this, you know. Circumstances don't always change that fast, but our emotions certainly do. And so sometimes the way that we see things goes through wild different iterations, doesn't it? Nine of Wands comes in and says, yes, there is this sense of like, are we there yet? You know, how much more, how much further? But honestly, like May is a delivering month. So there's something coming in to bring like a strong, firmer foundation and to help you see what you need to do to strengthen that, to keep building upon it. So whether that be relationships, what's going on within your own personal self-development, your spirituality and the journey that you're on with that. Maybe it's around your work and career. You know, certainly something is going through like a huge shift and change, and there is that sense of perhaps just having to pause momentarily to kind of see where you are and look at the things that can help to rejuvenate and restore you as you then step back into that pathway, because it's certainly asking and demanding a lot of you. I can see that for sure. But as I said, those Nine of Cups moments are going to keep coming in May. Yeah, so you are going to be given that reward, if you like. Yeah, there's those like mini rewards peppered through May. Now the full moon in Sagittarius arriving on the 23rd, you know, something about the experience that is going on around that is saying, you know, what would it mean to be truly fearless? I think you're considering something at that time, and you might have never expected that you would be, but it certainly represents to you what could end up being a fundamental change or shift in abundance around you. So, you know, that could be financial in terms of prosperity, but it might also just mean having way more time, or, you know, inviting in more love, or whatever the focus and the priority that comes up for you around that time. There's an ask of the universe that says something you want is on the other side of doing something that feels incredibly uncomfortable. But the King of Pentacles comes in with a kind of, I'm holding space for the material evidence of this to show itself to you, and quickly, Libra. So you put some skin in the game is kind of like the phrase that comes through. It's like, you know, you have to take the action, you have to do something in and around this full moon, right? And of course, around this full moon, we always want to appreciate what we need to let go of in order to create space for that to happen, okay? But as you do, it feels like you're very quickly given an insight of where that could go. So it's like a taster. That's what I'm feeling into. There's like a taster that comes as a result of an action that you take, and then you kind of get the feeling of it. You get the vibration and the frequency, and you're like, okay, like I see what this could do for me. I see where this could lead. So it's like, I don't know, you're looking for new love, and you put yourself out there. You have a great date. They might not be the one, but you're like, okay, you know, this is worth doing, because all of a sudden I'm on the path now. I'm on the journey. So thinking about doing that hard thing toward the end of the month and feeling quite elevated in the possibilities that seem to present really quickly. Now we've got Jupiter changing sign on the 25th, coming out of Taurus into Gemini. And so over the next few months, there is this like absolute deluge of new information that's coming in, and things happening incredibly quickly, blowing up really fast. And that can be an exciting, thrilling ride, but it can also feel very splintering in terms of what it's bringing through. So incredibly important. And you are demonstrating with your Queen of Swords, for me, the sort of clarity of vision that you have for yourself, like what your moral compass is, what your values are, what you believe in, what you stand for. That's really critical ahead of Jupiter shifting into Gemini, because the kind of is this real, is this myth, is this fake, is this, you know, what is this, and hanging your hat on anything that is constantly changing and shape-shifting and moving so quickly and becoming obsolete so fast could render you feeling incredibly overwhelmed and confused. And so just getting very grounded and secure in yourself and what it is that you stand for, of course with a very open mind as to learn and keep educating yourself as to what new things are coming in, will serve you incredibly well to navigate and to work with this new cycle. Of course, in an air sign, Jupiter is going to be supportive for you. It amplifies things, it exaggerates, it blows things up. And in Gemini, we're moving super light speed. So what you're also going to find is the communication, the way you communicate, changing. fast. And so that's going to be advantageous to you, particularly where you're trying to advance and see the genuine progress in terms of how you've changed. So you'll just notice within your own personal relationships, again, perhaps at work and things you're creating, anything that's involving the use of language and how you're saying things differently, you're talking differently. Yeah, and your mind is working almost faster to be able to disseminate and to almost take ideas and move forward with them more quickly. So it's going to be quite an exciting transit to work with, but you will feel into that toward the end of the month, and there's almost like a rapid, elevated kind of speed coming through that's just like, okay, kind of hold on to your hats a little bit. And so something that you're being asked to prepare for ahead of that time is going to be incredibly valuable for you. So feel into that as you're in and around that full moon as well, because it just seems to me that you want to kind of ride that wave rather than feeling like you're getting sucked and kind of dragged along with it, so to speak. Now, if you're new to the channel, our last 3 cards we look at in the extended version of my reading, we talk for another 30 minutes or so. We'll look at a personal card and a relationship card for you as well. You can find the link for that below. I am going to go ahead and just clarify the cards, see the direction we might be taking this reading for you in the extended. Okay, we've got Ace of Coins coming through here, and the Alchemist, the Magician, Ace of Swords, 4 of Coins. So my sacred title, my book, my deck, ways to work with me, all my sacred soul support guided meditations. You're going to find these over on my website, romywiser.com. Please do take a moment to check that out. You'll find all the decks listed below as well. Ways that I help support you on your spiritual journey. So what have we got with this King of Pentacles, the Moon, Page of Swords, another Queen of Swords coming through here. Okay. Right, let's take a look at Life Soul Vision Oracle. So this is my own deck. If you're new to my channel, please do take a moment, check it out. What do we have here? Queen of Water. Enlightened in the exhale. Waves crash and stars fall. A lot of water coming in that top line. Honesty at the edge of quiet. The Wishing Tree. Eclipse Revelations. Destiny Speaks. Okay. And we're just going to look at a couple of oracle card messages for you, Libra. So this is for the month of May. What do we have? We've got Blue Snowball and Patience. Okay. And finally, oracle message for Libra, the Call. Okay. Thanks for joining me. I hope you will continue this over on the extended. Have a great month. Enjoy the energy of May. I will see you again next time.